Welcome everyone to this episode of the Ask Jason Gelios show. I appreciate you tuning in, where I'm going to be sharing with you 11 things that every homeowner needs to survive home ownership. And I feel these are the most important. If I miss one, by the way, you're watching this and you're like, oh my gosh, Jason, you missed one, go ahead and share that in the comments. I love to read comments and get feedback on every episode. Okay, so the first one is fix a leaky faucet. Now, every homeowner should know how to fix a leaky faucet, whether you're fixing the faucet itself or underneath where the connections are actually leaking. You need to make sure that you know how to fix or even change out a leaky faucet. Number two, use magic sliders to move heavy items. So if you're not sure what magic sliders are, they're these disc pads that come in different shapes, sizes. Well, actually shapes too. I've seen them square, I've seen them rectangle, whatever, but they're mainly round and they work great on carpet. But they do have some that have wheels on the bottom and whatever, but they allow you to put them underneath, let's say, a dresser, and then it's so much easier to just slide it across the room to put it where you want to put it. So it's really cool. Using magic sliders is number two. Number three is locating a stud. A stud is the piece of wood, right? The joist that is behind your wall, and it's stronger because when you have drywall or even the old school homes that have plaster, there's gaps in between, and it's usually every 16 inches odd center. So the center of you have your boards here, okay, and then you have the wall over it. So you have a stud, and it's 16 inches typically from one board, the middle of the board, to the other board. And so you can measure. I have actually a stud finder that it's fairly cheap. I got it at my local hardware store, and it will beep when it goes over a board or a nail. And then that's where you want to screw in things, like if you're adding cabinetry or if you're adding something heavy. That's where you want to actually screw in something so that it actually stays. TV mount, right? You put up a TV mount, that's where they typically put in those bolts, okay? Number four is changing a door handle. Door handles act up, right? They're used often, especially in entryway, exit doors, right, of your home. You should be able to just change those out. It's fairly easy once you just line up the new hardware, right, on both sides, and then just screw them in. So teach yourself how to change out door handles. Number five is unclogging a sink. Should be able to unclog a sink. Now there's some natural remedies out there that they say, I don't know, baking soda mixed with this and that, whatever. I'm sure you can Google it, but quite honestly, I prefer using a chemical to get down in there and just break it free. But you should know how to unclog a drain. And a serious drain, sink drain, is actually, or even a shower drain, quite honestly, you can get tools, plastic tools that just go in there and actually push the obstruction through, okay? So unclogging a sink is key. Number six, hire a solid contractor or handyman. You need to know how to do this. If it's a job that you want to hire a contractor for or a handyman, you want to make sure you ask for referrals, ask your friends. On social media, you can ask your connections on there. Just ask around. I personally would never just pick someone out of the, I don't want to say phone book, but off of a random Google search, okay? But ask around, ask friends, hey, if you want to add a deck to your home, or a concrete patio, hey, has anyone hired someone to do this before? Okay, and social media makes it a lot easier. If not, call some friends and ask them. Or even ask your neighbors, quite honestly, if you see that they've had something done. Number seven, removing a broken light bulb. Now, I've had to do this, and thank God we had the vegetable that I use. So you want to use a potato, cut the potato in half. Actually, you probably don't even have to do that, but it's easier if you do that. So you have a broken light bulb that's stuck in there. It doesn't come loose. You definitely don't want to touch anything. It's sharp and you could get electrocuted. If you turn off the power, great, but you can take a potato and push it on the broken part of the bulb and turn the potato, which will or should turn that light bulb out. And I've actually done this one because sometimes old, like like before the LED bulbs came out, the older light bulbs, if they were in there for a long time, they just get stuck. The metal gets stuck with the other metal socket. Not fun. Okay. Number 8, changing a light fixture. So, you know, you want to be able to do this. You want to know how you turn off the power to that section of your home, or like I do, I kind of get skittish about messing with electricity, so I turn the whole house off just to change a light fixture. I just feel better that way. But basically, you want to make sure that you know how the wires go, and again, you can actually Google this and follow that direction from a reputable website. But you want to know, you should know how to change a light fixture, a basic light fixture or light switch or dimmer, whatever it is. You want to be able to actually know how to do that. Number 9, know which circuit breaker to turn off. So there's an electrical box that controls which electricity goes through what line in your home, and it's a big panel. It's usually a gray cover. Okay, you want to make sure that that's labeled for once. For example, one breaker could be for the kitchen area, another could be for the garage area, and you want to label these, because if you have to do something like I mentioned, changing a light fixture or even taking out this damaged or broken bulb, you want to be sure to actually cut the power so that you're not going to get electrocuted. Okay, so knowing which breaker to turn off and making sure that they're labeled should actually be the first thing you do when you get into a home. But if not, that's okay. Just label those things so that in the future it's all set. Number 10, hanging heavy items on drywall. So you have drywall, and let's say you want to hang a mirror. Mirrors tend to be heavier the bigger they are. And so what I like are these toggle bolts. And I want to share with, I don't have anything that I can show you, but it's a bolt that has a piece like this. And you pre-drill a hole that's the size of this bolt or screw. Usually it's a machine screw. Okay, and what happens is when you push this through the wall, it's gonna turn. Actually, it's gonna turn like that. Okay, and then it's gonna go through the hole in the wall, and when it gets through to the drywall, which by the way, make sure you're using the right length screw, when it goes through the drywall, it's gonna clamp out and grab onto that drywall. So it's like a claw inside your wall, and those are great. That's what I would use for hanging up mirrors, anything else, you know, heavy artwork, whatever the case is. Just use toggle bolts, and you can basically Google that as well. But you know, toggle bolts are great for hanging up heavy items, and you should know how to do that, and don't be afraid. Just make sure you know where you want it first before you do that, because it's a slightly bigger hole. And the last one is using a fire extinguisher. Now, I would even go as far as to test one out. I don't know, you could spray it somewhere like in a big empty box or whatever, just outside, or just practice using the fire extinguisher and then get one, another one. And it's totally worth it, even if you have to spend money and not waste one, but you're basically practicing. You have to know how to use a fire extinguisher, because if you can stop a small flame out in your house, you want to be able to do that. So I just shared with you 11 things, skills that every homeowner needs to know to survive homeownership. Again, if I missed one, share that in the comments below. I'd love to continue this conversation on this topic in the comments. And I invite you to follow me on social media. All those links are in the description. And visit my websites. I'll put that right here, as well as the links in the description. So I really appreciate you watching, and I will talk to you next time.